Pencils go down on your desk, and a colored pen magically appears in your hand. This is not optional, this is required. If you do not have a colored pen, I will loan a marker to you. It's not a big deal. Just raise your hand. So first, basics. Anytime I have little messages up here that are in very small writing, you do not have to copy. If you did, I apologize. It's not a big deal. Those are important things for you, but they're also for me, and they're also for any teacher or administrator who walks in the room, so they know what we're working on. But you must write lesson 1-1. You must. That is not optional. Write it nice and big across the top of your paper. You should be on a brand new sheet of paper. You should not be working on the back of something else. You also must write warm-up so that it is easy to find that part of the lesson. If you haven't done that already, do it now. You also do not write a list of answers. You write the question, and then you do work, and then you write your answer. If you can do the entire thing mentally, that's fine, but you better get it right. If you do things mentally and you're getting it wrong, then you're not allowed to do it mentally. You do not have to write the instructions unless I tell you to. Good. So now that we got the basics out of the way, let's see how we did. Number 1, what did you get? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 confident people. We will start with Annabelle, Isabella, and then what is your name? Marcus. Annabelle, Isabella, Marcus. Just on number 1. What'd you get? 27. All 3 of you got 27. The correct answer is 27. Put a C if you got it correct, and X if you got it wrong. If you get it wrong, write down the correct answer. Number 2, what did you get? We will start with Amir. What is your name? Cheyenne. Amir, Cheyenne, and Jesse. Amir, Cheyenne, Jesse. Go.
36.
You, all 3 of you think it's 36, so we have complete agreement that the answer is 36. Nicely done. Those were numerical expressions. Now we get algebraic. What about number 3? What did you get? We will start with Adriana, Tristan, and then we will go to David. Go ahead. 100.
100.
All 3 of you agree that the answer is 100. The answer is 100. Number 4, what did we get? We'll start with Gary and Yasmin, and then Mike. 400, but number 4 is the same thing as number 3. Shouldn't we get the same answer?
No.
All right, let's see. Oh yeah, you're right, it's 400. Why is that different? What, am I missing something?
No.
Why is that different? What's your name? What is it? Laurel? Why is that different? And which one? Oh, the parentheses. I forgot about the parentheses. I thought I typed something wrong and had the wrong question. Right, so there's parentheses here and here, and so that tells you you have to do something different first. Oh, okay, excellent. Excellent job. So, today's warm-up had 4 questions. Now we're going to grade ourselves because this is basically a little mini quiz. You make a fraction with 4 as the denominator. Count up the number of questions you got correct. If you got 3 of them correct, put a 3. If you got all of them correct, put a 4. If you got none of them correct, put a 0. And then you're going to convert this to a percent. When the denominator is 4, converting a percent is easy. What would 3 out of 4 be as a percent? I'm trying to remember names. Jesse?
75%.
75%. Very good. So you write your own percent on your paper. Let's see who remembers procedures from 2 days ago. Give me a thumbs up if you got 75% or better. Okay, put your thumbs down. That was almost every single person in the class. That's outstanding. Very good. But of course, not everyone got 100. So I'm going to take a moment to see if anyone needs any assistance. Now, I want to make sure we're clear about something about this room. When you cross from the hallway, this is called the threshold. Across the threshold of this room and enter this room, you have entered a safe place to make mistakes. In fact, this is the safest place to make mistakes. I'll go a step further. I expect you to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, then something's not right. So this is a safe place to make mistakes, and it's a safe place to say that you made a mistake. That's important. Because kids are afraid of how other students are going to judge them. And some of you are afraid, just because of being human, that if you say that you messed something up, that someone's going to say something negative about you. But that's not going to happen in this room. In this room, we embrace mistakes. I've made 20 mistakes already today. And I am much older and more experienced than you. So don't worry about mistakes. They're going to happen every single day. So, now with that in mind, we have these 4 questions. Does anyone have any concerns or issues with any of them? Laurel, go ahead. Number 3, very good. And thank you for being the first brave person. I really appreciate that. So number 3, you just not sure where you went wrong? Is that the idea? Okay, so everyone look at your own number 3. Give me a thumbs up if you got number 3 correct. Good. Amani, what's the first thing you did? Hold on. That was great. That was a brilliant thing you said. You substituted the 5 in place of the W in the expression. So now I did something that not necessarily everybody knows to do. What did I do that not everybody necessarily knows? Adriana? And how did I separate them? Yeah, that's a multiplication dot, and so you have to know that that's multiplication. If you don't, and I already have had this happen several times in all my classes, if you just put the 5 there, this is what it looks like. That's a big difference, right? That looks like 45 squared, but it's not 45 squared. So it is 4 times 5 squared. So what do we do next? Annabelle.
You, square 5.
Very good. I love the way you said that. You square 5, and what do you get? Exactly. So what happens is we replace this with its value. Its value is really 25, so that turns into a 25, but we didn't use the 4 yet. And now we have 4 times 25, and everyone in this room, mental math, can do 4 times 25 easily. That's 100. Okay? Any questions about how we did that? Laurel, were you able to find your mistake? Yeah? And again, I must applaud you for being brave and sharing your mistake. That can only help everyone. Does anyone have any comments, questions, or concerns on what we've done so far? Good, we're doing pretty well. Keep up the good work. Now, underneath your warm-up, right here, everyone is going to draw a line across your paper. It does not need to be a ruler line. It can be a squiggly line, it can be a jagged line, but it needs to be a line that goes from the left all the way across to the right. Because I'm going to be checking every day for this section of a lesson called the warm-up. You're going to get a grade on it. In fact, you can see the slip over here you're going to get. It says warm-up, and you get a certain number of points. I'm going to explain this to you guys next time, but everything gets graded. So we draw a line so that I can see that this section is done. Now we're going to go on to the next section for today, which is simply called notes. So everyone underneath your line write notes, variables, and expressions.
Does that have to be mentioned?
Yeah, you should know. I apologize. So now I'm sorry, I didn't say it and I should have. Your colored pen went back down on your desk and your pencil came back up. So I apologize. Thank you, Tristan, for reminding me. So it's okay if you already wrote in pen. It's not a big deal, but you only use the pen when we're marking things up or if you have to circle something or draw arrows or something like that. All right, now we're going to start establishing the language of this classroom. You have to be able to speak in math. Math is a language, but it's a language that we use mostly in a math classroom or maybe science or when you're in school. It's not the kind of language you use when you're with your friends at lunch. I mean, you don't talk about the polynomial you saw over the weekend, do you? You don't say, hey, I was working with this awesome quadratic equation last night, and you don't talk like that when you're with your friends, right? Because it's a math term. But just because you don't talk with your friends like that doesn't mean you're not supposed to know it. In fact, you have to. You have to be able to communicate with your classmates, and you have to communicate with me about the math. So we're going to establish some important terms. You do not have to copy any of this. But I'm going to highlight some things as we go through, and anything that I highlight, and I'm just trying to lead you a little bit, anything that I highlight is important information that you do need to jot down. You may use abbreviations anytime you want to, as long as the abbreviation is meaningful. Okay? Now, the reason I'm telling you that you don't need to copy this is because as you see my little note over there, this is on page 5 of the book. You were supposed to have the book already, unfortunately you don't. So I'm not going to make you copy it. I'm going to give you a book sometime soon, so it'll be in the book and you'll be able to refer back to it when we have our first quiz. So let's start with the basics. Expressions. You are going to be working with mathematical expressions. These are math phrases. There's two kinds that you need to work with: numerical and algebraic. You've already seen both today. Where did you see both? In the warm-up. You already saw them. You've been working with them already, and you probably worked with them all last year. These are numerical expressions, and these are algebraic expressions. An algebraic expression is something that has a variable in it. That's an algebraic expression. Any questions about these terms? Okay, here's where it gets more technical. A term is part of an expression that is added. Here's an example. 2x squared minus 16x plus 32 is an expression. It has three terms. Here are the terms. 2x squared is a term, negative 16x is a term, and positive 32 is a term. Three terms, and you see them listed here, and again, this is in your book. So you have to know what a term is, and I'm going to use this word all the time. I'm going to say things like, find the first term, or add the terms together, or subtract the terms. I'm going to say this all the time, and you have to know what I'm talking about. Just like if I say the word bicycle, in your mind, you can picture what I'm talking about. But if I say a term, you have to know what I'm talking about. Here's the big boy word of the day, coefficient. Coefficient is the number in front of a variable. So, if we look at 2x, the number in front of the 2x is the 2. That is called the coefficient. 2 is the coefficient of 2x. If we look at negative 16x, the coefficient is the number in front, negative 16. So negative 16 is the coefficient of negative 16x. So when I say coefficient, that's a big boy word. You have to know what I'm talking about. Amir.
So the coefficient is the one without the variable.
That's right. It's the number in front of the variable. So for example, if we look at the 32, what's the coefficient of 32? No. And I'm glad you brought that up. There is none. There's only a coefficient if there's a letter with it. Okay? So this has a coefficient, this has a coefficient, that doesn't have a coefficient, it's just a number. It's called a constant. Okay? Very good point you brought up. Any comments, questions? So this is a foundation of what we're going to be doing. Here's the other piece. Give me a thumbs up if you can remember a phrase or an acronym that helps you remember the order of operations. Thumbs up if you can remember a phrase or an acronym for the order of operations. Okay? I'm still learning names. Remind me of your name. I'm sorry? Amari. Amari, what is the phrase or acronym that you remember? HEMDAS. Give me a thumbs up if you remember the one that she pointed out. Okay, good. Good. Is there another one that you remember? Anyone else have a different one that you remember? Caleb?
It's like another version.
Okay. Explain.
Pretty much just like one opposite. Like the G stands for
Okay. So what does the R stand for? Okay. So that's great that you remember the acronym, but if you don't remember what it applies to or what each letter means, then it's kind of useless. So if you could tell me what it means, I'd like to put that up. Annabelle? Yeah, that's the other one that most people remember. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. PEMDAS. Very good. Both of you. Excellent. Go ahead.
Isn't there another one like Henry?
I think you're thinking of a science one to help you remember kingdom, phylum, all that stuff.
That was the chocolate milk.
Is that it? Is that what I'm thinking of? Go ahead, Annabelle. You had something else? Okay. Well, if you think of something else, let me know. But there's an important part, because PEMDAS, and please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, actually don't tell us enough. Here is a key part that you must remember. For these two, it is from left to right, whichever comes first from left to right. So let me show you an example of what I'm talking about with this left to right stuff. What if we had this? 3 times 8 divided by 4. What do you do first? What do you do first? Got a bunch of people who know. And I apologize, I'm still learning names, and I know you told me already. What's your name again? Cheyenne. Cheyenne, what do you do first here?
Multiplication.
Right. In this case, you do multiplication because it's on the left. Okay? So what will you get when you finish this? Do it mentally. You should be able to do that mentally. What do you get? Go ahead, Cheyenne, you're on a roll. What do you get? Yeah, so this is the value of 6. 3 times 8 is 24, divided by 4, you get 6. What if I switched it around and I did this? What do you do first here? Tristan?
8 divided by 4.
Are you sure? Because it says M and then D. Are you positive? Yeah, you're right. We now have to do division first because it's from left to right. That comes first. What do you get when you simplify that expression? Michael?
6.
You get 6. 8 divided by 4 is? Times 3 is? 6. So you get the same value, even though I set it up differently, but you had to do it in a different order. If you do the multiplication first, you get the totally wrong answer. If you do multiplication first, you get 2/3. Is that the same thing as 6? That's clearly incorrect. So you have to be careful. And that also applies for addition and subtraction. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the order of operations? Because we're going to now use all of this, and we're going to start working with algebra. Any questions? Good, let's go. You're going to need to be able to translate from words to algebraic expressions and back. You don't have to copy this. This is also in your book, but it is my expectation that you already know that these words and phrases mean certain things. For example, you must know that the sum of means addition. For example, the sum of a number and 3 is n plus 3. You must know the difference of means subtraction, as in the difference of a number and 3 means n minus 3. The product of means multiplication, as in the product of 0.4 and a number, which is written like that in algebra. And here's one that students tend to forget. The quotient of, that's a fancy word. The quotient of means division, as in the quotient of a number and 3 means n divided by 3, or this is how we're going to write it from now on. In algebra, we use a fraction bar for division. So you have to know all of these. Again, I could have you copy all of this down, but it's important. But it's in the book. It's going to take some time for you to digest it and know all of it. But you, by 2 weeks from now, should know all of these phrases and words, and you should know exactly what they mean and how to translate them. Okay? There are a few others that are not in the book, and so you do need to copy these down because they're really important, but they're not in the book. This is a really important one. The quantity of, or sometimes it just says the quantity. That means parentheses. That's really important because if you don't realize that there's parentheses somewhere, you might do things in the wrong order. You heard Annabelle earlier say a step in one of the problems we were working on. She said square the 5. That was really advanced the way she said that. And you're going to see that written. The square of, that's the exponent of 2. And then the third one you're not going to have to worry about for a while, but when you put the word is less than actually refers to a less than symbol. But you're not going to have to worry about that one for a while. Any comments, questions, concerns about any of the language that you're seeing presented here? So now, take what we did in the previous page and this here, and we're going to wrap it all together. We're going to actually wrap it all together with what you did in the warm-up, and we're going to do everything at a higher level. So, example 1. Everyone must write example 1, but you can abbreviate it and just put EX1. You could write example if you want to, but just write EX1. Yes? Nope, don't draw a line yet. Just write EX1. You do not have to write what I put in parentheses. What I put in parentheses is just a heads up for you to know what's coming next. And then you have to write examples. You don't have to write the instructions unless I tell you to, but you must write A and then copy this, because the examples that we do together help guide you on the more challenging examples you're going to do later on. So, we're going to do this example together. This is a we do situation. We're going to do this together. So we're going to go a little bit slower initially, but then we're going to speed up because you guys have already proven to be pretty advanced. So, what is the first thing we need to do to evaluate the expression? What's the first thing we're supposed to do? And hopefully you listened to one of your classmates because they said it beautifully earlier. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who know, 6 people, 7 people. Alex. Parentheses. So you want me to do 4x minus 10 first? But I don't know how to do that because I don't know what to do with the 4x minus 10. Ah, there we go. We're going to substitute 2 in place of the x. But make sure you write it correctly. So we put a 2 there. Then we're going to put a 4 here. Now, it's not in the original expression, but what am I going to put right next to the 4 that's going to help me out, David? Multiplication dot is critical. Then I'm going to put a 2 minus 10, close parentheses, and then that exponent of 3. Now, I have given you a challenging one initially on purpose. What does it mean when I have a number right next to parentheses? There's something important about that. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people. Yasmin. That's right. So that's a multiplication. So look at all the different things going on here. I've got a multiplication, a subtraction, an exponent, and I have parentheses. I got 5 different things going on, and I have to know which one to do first. So I need some people to tell me what to do first. What do we do first, Gary?
4 times 2.
Do you agree with that, David? 4 times 2? So we're going to do 4 times 2. It's the first step. Now in my class, and you may have had a teacher in the past who did it differently, but in my class, my expectation is that when you simplify something, you continue on the line right below it. Going sideways causes some issues that I'm not going to talk about yet, but it causes issues. So we simplify this, and then we rewrite underneath. The value of that is an 8. But we didn't use this, we didn't use this, we didn't use this, and we didn't use this. What's next? We took care of one of them. Jesse, what's next?
You have to subtract 8 minus 10.
Very good. 8 minus 10 is in the parentheses. I have to do that next. But I'm used to 10 minus 8. I don't know what 8 minus 10 is. That always confuses the heck out of me. I got a bunch of people who know it. What was your name? Say it again. Okay. It's going to take me a while to get that, so I apologize. But go ahead. Okay, Annabelle, do you agree with that? Yeah, that's -2. So I'm impressed. My students have no issues with the integers. So the value of this is -2, so I rewrote it as a -2, but we didn't use that yet, we didn't use this yet, and we didn't use this yet. This is where my students make the most mistakes. What must you do next? What must you do next, Amir?
Bring it out of the front.
Bring it out. How do you mean?
Drop it down.
Drop it down? So what do you want me to do? Just put the -2 underneath? What about this right there? What do we have to do with that? Or what about the 2? We don't have to do
Bring that down.
Okay. So I'm not sure if I know what you mean. So let's see what we get, and then you tell me if it's what you meant. Because I've never heard it said that way. So Michael, what is your thought? Okay, so we have to do the exponent. So I'm not sure if that's what you meant by bring it down. But we have to do the exponent next before you do multiplication, because as you saw over here, exponents comes before multiplication. Have to do exponents first. Otherwise, we end up with the wrong answer. But now we have negative 2 to the third power. That's challenging. Negative 2 to the third power, what do you get? Yasmin? Karen, was that what you were going to say? What was it? Yeah, negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is negative 8. And so this value, this whole thing, became a negative 8. And now I have a 2 being multiplied by the negative 8. And now, should be able to do mental math. What do we get as the solution, or the value of this expression? Tristan?
-16.
-16. And that is correct. Does anyone have any questions on how we did that? Go ahead, Amir. What was...
Oh, because my math teacher, he just said, last year, he just said bring it down, but we did the parentheses to that. I mean, the exponent, that's what I meant by
Okay, so I just never heard it said that way, and that's why I wasn't sure, okay? But I appreciate you telling me. So, it's the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. All right. Any comments, questions? Okay, one thing I want you to notice is that as we work from an expression down to its value, you should see a little bit of an upside down triangle form. The expression is complex and it's longer, and as we simplify things, it kind of gets squished in and squished in and squished in until we get its value. Does anyone have any questions about that? All right, you guys are doing well. Now let's kick it up a level. What about this? You now need to write b 3y minus x squared times 4 when x is 2 and y is 5. So, if we follow the same pattern, we did it during the warm-up, we did it during example A, we need to substitute, and that was the word that Alex had used and someone else had used earlier, substitute the values we're given in place of the variables. And so that's the first thing we do, but we need to make sure we're careful of how we rewrite it. What is going on here when we have a number next to a letter? What's going on there? 3 people who know? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Aman? Yeah, that's multiplication. And so we want to put in a multiplication dot to help ourselves. 3 times y is 5, so I'm going to put a 5 minus x 2 squared times 4. That is ugly. That is ugly. So we've got multiplication, subtraction, exponent, and multiplication. 4 different things going on. What has to happen first? Go ahead. What did you name? Kaylee? Kaylee. I apologize, Kaylee. Kaylee, go ahead. What has to happen first?
the exponent.
Have to do the exponent. So we have to do this right here first. But we preserve everything that we haven't used yet. 3 times 5 minus 4 times 4. You had a comment, or are you going to do the next thing? Just 1 second. Give me a thumbs up if you already finished. Okay, good. Put your thumbs down. I'm trying to remember your name, and I'm sorry. What is it again? Amari. Is it Imari or Amari? Amari. I'm trying to get it right. Amari, what did you end up with when you finished the whole thing? -1. Give me a thumbs up, my students who finished it already, who got a -1. A bunch of you got -1. All right, let's see if she's right. We're going to say that it's -1. Let's see. Gary, you had something? Oh, and Annabelle, I'll get back to you. I apologize. Gary, go ahead.
Doesn't 4 become a positive 4 since it's a -2 squared?
Well, it can get confusing, but we're going to treat this like this. Okay? It does get confusing later on. I don't want to deal with it right now on this third day of school. But Garen, you are bringing up something that's going to come up later on. For now, you can feel confident that that's a 4, and that's a subtraction sign in between them, okay? Good. So, Annabelle, you were going ahead, the next thing. Go ahead.
So I did 3 times 5, and I got 15.
Good.
Take away 4 times 4.
Okay.
Would make it 16.
Good. And so that's something that you guys are very advanced. So you can take shortcuts when it's appropriate. So Isabella, there's a multiplication, a subtraction, and a multiplication. You're supposed to do this one first, and then you're supposed to do this one. But you can actually do them both at the same time and drop down their values, just like Annabelle said. So you can do, oh, that's a 15, and that's a 16. And now you've got 15 minus 16, and so, were you right? Yeah, she was right. And a whole bunch of you had your thumbs up. Very good. Anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions about either of these? David, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Tristan, what's going to happen next? Okay, so now it's the chance for you to prove that you understand what I've asked you to do. It's called the checkpoint. It's not a new section, so don't draw a line across your paper. I'm going to turn the page, and you're going to get a new question, and you have to do it on your own, and I'm going to give you a time limit. Your job is to get the answer within the time limit. No questions asked. If you're lost or confused, you raise your hand, and I will come help you. That's fine. But we're trying to do it on our own. So, first, let me turn the page. And I would like everyone to write. You can either write checkpoint number 1, or you could write CP. Capital C, capital P, that stands for checkpoint. So go ahead and write CP number 1 or checkpoint 1. And checkpoints, you don't have to copy the question unless you need to. Sometimes you will need to. So here's the question. I'm going to get my time limit up here. You're going to have 2 minutes to find the answer. Now I'll give you 3. I'll give you 3 minutes, and here is the question. Good luck. time is up. Give me a thumbs up if you have an answer. Put your thumbs down. I am now going to give you 1 minute. Everyone is sitting with a team. Look at the letter on your desk in the upper left-hand corner. This is team A, B, C, team E, F, G, and Keshope, you're going to join the team right in front of you, so you'll just kind of scoot forward a little bit. You may need to scoot your desks toward the middle person for a minute or two, and then at the end of class you can separate them a little bit. And so now here's what you're going to do. Here's what you're going to do. You are going to try and see, first of all, if you all see if you agree. If you agree, then see if you all did it the same way. Because someone's going to have to explain. If you don't agree, then you're going to have to try and convince someone that you're right and they're wrong. Okay? So you got 1 minute to start with. Let's see how we do. It's called team talk. Go ahead and team talk.
You got 9?
You put 9.
You got 9?
Yeah.
I did, but then I realized that I have time to have. I don't know how to multiply it. But I'll switch it to you.
No?
Alright, so how y'all do it?
We just
Wait, let me change it.
I got
What's half time?
My bad.
What's a half square?
Yep.
How you put? Can't you put?
It's just the same stuff.
Well, okay, 2. So what you said? Well, of course. You can't change it. That's what you said. I thought you didn't want it.
No, 1/4 is a fraction.
Yeah, but you still have to.
Yeah.
So what the decimal is.
So this is
And 6 times.
You've got about 20 seconds to come to some sort of agreement.
Why did I get 1.5?
because that's what
I mean, because it's right following.
All right. Team talk is done. Let's see what we got. Start with Isabella. What did your team, did you guys all agree? No? Okay. What was your answer, Isabella? Okay. Well, what was one of the answers? You got 9. Anyone else got something different in that group? What'd you get? 4.5. Okay. Adriana, what about your team?
4.5.
You think 4.5? Did the whole team agree? Okay. Annabelle?
He has 9 and 1/4, but Andrew has 9.
It's okay. Go ahead, Annabelle.
He got 9 and 1/4, but if anything, what I heard or learned now, that if 1/2 squared would be 1, and 6 times 1 would be 6 plus 9, but I got 4.5.
Okay. So you disagreed with your team, and that's fine. Okay. Michael, what about your team up here?
4.
Did the whole team agree, or? Because I felt like it was different, and then you guys someone convinced someone else, and then you changed it, right? Good. That's what you're supposed to. No.
No.
Okay. Well, maybe you disagree about what happened. Okay. So I'll get to groups that didn't talk. I'll get to you, but let's see what the actual value is. It is 4.5 or 4.5. So let's see. We are pretty smart people in this room. Let's see. Can someone sum up in one word what was harder about this one compared to the other ones you've seen today? You can sum it up in one word, in my opinion. Laurel, what's the one word? Fraction. That's the word. So what happened was that you knew exactly what to do. Everyone knew to replace the W with the 1/2. I saw that. I walked around. Everyone knew to replace the V with the 3. So everyone wrote this, and I was very impressed that everyone wrote that, and then everyone lost their minds. Because nobody knows what to do with this. Everyone knew you were supposed to do that first, but no one knew what to do. Well, not no one. I mean, a whole bunch of people knew what to do, but a bunch of us didn't know what to do. A bunch of you think that 1/2 squared is 1. What is 1/2 squared, actually? David? It is 1/4. This is 1/4. Can someone tell us how we get that? Yasmin? We're not doing that. That's cheating. And you're making it harder. Do it without cheating. Laurel, how do we do it without cheating? Go ahead, Tristan. 2 to the second power is not 1/4. 2 to the second power is 4.
Well, like what I meant is you like 2 times 2, then you get 4 on the bottom, then just bring down the
Well, that's kind of it. David, go back to you.
What you do is that you multiply 1/2 by 1/2, but you multiply 1 times 1, which is 1, 2 times 2, which is 4.
Yeah.
4.
It's multiplying two fractions. Multiplying fractions is easy. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 1/2 squared is 1/4. And now you bring down the rest. 6 times plus 3. What do we get when we do 6 times a 4th? Annabelle? Well, you can, but you don't need to. Let's do it this way. Let's pretend you've got $6. Everyone picture that in their mind. You $6. Shouldn't be too hard. And you need to split it between 4 people. $6 split 4 people. How much money does each person get? Laurel? $1.50. What's another way to say 1.5? Go ahead, Annabelle. That's right. Or simplified, it's 1 and 1.5. 1.5 plus 3 is 4.5. So some of you guys are either fearful of fractions or you're uncertain, and that's fine. But let me make sure we're clear. You're going to be working with fractions from today for the rest of the year, virtually every day. So if you are afraid, bless you, if you're afraid or you're anxious about it, that means you're going to be afraid and anxious every day you walk in this room. Is that what we want? No. We want confidence. We want comfort. So try to get past it, okay? Good. We did a great job with checkpoint number 1. I've got to move ahead because I'm starting to get a little bit behind schedule. So now we're back with your pencil. And everyone needs to write example 2 or EX2. And I will be kind and say that you do not have to copy the question, you just have to write part A. But we are going to do some work together that you do have to write. So, we have this mythical character named John. He sounds like a great guy. He can type 62 words per minute. Write an expression for the number of words he types in m minutes. Identify the units for the expression. We'll deal with that last part at the end. But we want to write an expression. So, write an expression means that we want something that looks like this, we want something like that, or something like this. These are expressions. So we have to come up with the right expression. You can't write anything, you have to write the correct one. So some of you may know it already, and that's fine, but I'm going to teach you a technique on figuring it out because you're going to need the technique for the harder ones. This is an easier one. A harder one's going to come up soon. So here's what I want you to do. Please follow along with me. You are going to make a simple table. It's going to be kind of a double T table. This is going to be M. This is going to be the number of words because that's what comes out of the expression. Write an expression for the number of words. We don't know what the expression is. We have to find it. It's going to end up right here. But right now we're going to leave that blank. So watch the process and it'll make sense to you in a moment. Can I have a volunteer raise their hand and give us a nice simple number for M? A nice simple number to use. Amir? Good. 1. So everyone put a 1 right there. If John types 62 words per minute, how many words will he type in 1 minute? Someone raise their hand and tell us. Remind me your name. Marcus. 62. How did you get that? 62 words in 1 minute. Good. Can I have a volunteer pick another simple number for us to use? I'm really trying to remember. I apologize. Remind me again. Cheyenne. Give me another number.
3.
3. Very good. Everyone write a 3 right here. If John types for 3 minutes, how many words will he type? We got a bunch of people who know already. Yasmin? 186. Do you agree with that? 186. Oh, you were using that? 186. Could someone confirm that? I don't know. I don't have it. Marcus, you agree? It's 186. Is that it? 186.
Yeah.
So it's 186, and is it Amani? Amari, I apologize. Amar, and you're Amani, I apologize. Amari, how did you get from the 3 to the 186? 62 times 3. Everyone write 62 times 3 right there. I need one more number, simple number for us to use. Go ahead, Tristan.
5.
5. So let's put a 5 right here, and now I need to know how many words John will type in 5 minutes. Go ahead, Adriana.
301.
Can someone confirm that for me? Is it 301, Jesse? 310? Is it 310? Okay, that's fine. 310. How do you get from the 5 to the 310, Yasmin? 62 times 5. Now, look at what we have here. What goes in this missing space here? What should I put right there? Annabelle? 62 times 1. None of these things are the item that we're looking for. I'm looking for the top of that column. What is the top of the column going to be? Let's see who can figure it out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who got it. 6, 7. Alex. Say that again a little louder.
62M.
62M. That's algebra. We have now represented this situation using an expression. So when you're asked to write an expression for this, 62M is what we were looking for. Now, what are the units going to be? The units is going to be the result of the expression. The result is this right here. The number of words. So the units of measurement is words. Units of measurement can be inches, feet, centimeters, meters, liters. It can be a traditional unit of measurement, but it could also be dollars, pencils, compasses, rulers, t-shirts. It can be anything. And so in this case, the unit is words. Does anyone have any questions on how this worked? Now, some of you probably didn't need to make the whole table. That's fine. But there is a reason why we did it. We're going to keep that in mind as we work. Everyone write part B. And we're doing very well, so keep it up. So we're going to do something similar. We have this fantastic guy named Roberto and his sister, Emily. There's a relationship between their number of years, but we don't know how old they are. Write an expression for Roberto's age. So let's take the same technique, make a simple table. There's actually a couple different ways we could do it. Now, Emily is younger because it says Roberto is older than her. So let's start with Emily here. We don't know the expression, but let's put Roberto over here. Now, we don't know Emily's age, but we could make something up. So could I have a volunteer make up an age for Emily? Make one up, Garion. 13. Perfect. If Emily is 13, how old is Roberto? 17. How did you do that?
I added 13 by 4.
13 plus 4. Can I have a volunteer make up another age for Emily? Let's pretend she graduated college. Boy, it's not sticking. I don't know why. Just go ahead. It'll go in. Go ahead. 21. Good. 21, 22 when you graduate college. Good. If Emily's 21, how old is Roberto? Marcus? 25. How'd you do that, Marcus? Added 5? 4. Okay, so we added 4. So the common theme here, the operation that's happening over and over again is the plus 4. And it says Emily is Y years old. So if we now say that Emily is Y, then we can say Y plus 4 will get us Roberto's age. And so the expression we were looking for was Y plus 4. The units of measurement is what? I didn't write it down, or I didn't put anything. Go ahead, Yasmin. It's years. The unit of measurement is years. Excellent. Excellent job. Now, we have a checkpoint. However, I'm still getting used to the schedule and the amount of time that I have to work with. And so I don't have enough time to do everything else. So we were going to do this, but we're not going to. So this is not going to be done. It was important, but I just don't have time. And so that moves us to the final piece of a lesson, which is homework. And so now you're going to draw one final line across your paper. Line across your paper. And you're going to write homework, or you could write a big capital HW. I should easily be able to look at your paper and know exactly where your homework starts. And your homework is going to go right on this same paper, right below where you're at. The first part of your homework is, in the student book, pages 9 and 10, you're going to do numbers 1 through 20, which is a total of 20 questions. You do not have the book yet because of circumstances, so I have copied the page for you and I've already put holes in it. But you are going to pretend that this is a textbook page, And you're not going to write on this. You're going to do your work on your notebook paper. So can I borrow yours for a second? So, looks like Jesse did an excellent job. His lesson starts right here. He wrote lesson 1-1, warm-up. There's the warm-up. There's notes. Continues right here, and he's going to write homework and the homework assignment. He's going to start doing the homework right here. And when he gets to the bottom of the page, he's going to continue up here until he's done. Because when he comes in tomorrow, I am going to grade all of this. Don't worry about it. Thank you. So thank you for letting me use that. So everyone must write student book pages 9, 10, numbers 1 through 20, and I'm going to give you a copy of that right now. Team captain, take copy and pass it down. Take a copy and pass it down, sorry. Then go on to the next page. Here There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
So, is there anyone who did not get a copy of the assignment? Now, the second part of the assignment was a reading assignment, but you don't have the book yet, so I can't get you to do that. So we'll cross that out. And the third part is when I start scheduling tests and quizzes for you, and I don't have it scheduled yet, so don't worry about that. Okay? Now, something important that I'm going to tell you, and it goes for everybody in the room. This is new for everyone. You are going to do the homework. You're going